drills and heated exchanges, tensions between Beijing and Taipei are at an all-time high. But the big question on everyone's mind is, will China invade Taiwan?
Taiwan, a small island located off the southeastern coast of China. Despite its size, Taiwan finds itself at the heart of one of the world's most important and sensitive geopolitical issues. For decades, Taiwan has been a flashpoint, a place where the interests of the US and China collide in a struggle for dominance, influence, and control in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. But why, in a world filled with powerful nations and conflict, is Taiwan so crucial to both the US and China? What makes this island of 23 million people so important? Let's take a deeper dive. First, we must understand the geopolitical importance of Taiwan. Taiwan's location in the Pacific is not just important, it is strategically essential. Sitting just 100 miles off China's eastern coast, Taiwan lies at the crossroads of East Asia, a region that is home to some of the world's largest economies and most powerful military forces. Taiwan's location makes it a gateway between the South China Sea and the Pacific Ocean, two of the most important bodies of water in a global trade and military strategy. Taiwan controls several critical maritime routes. The Taiwan Strait, the narrow body of water separating Taiwan from mainland China, is one of the most busiest shipping lanes in the world. Over 1.3 trillion worth of global trade passes through the region every year. If China were to take control of Taiwan, it would hold strategic dominance over this trade route, giving Beijing control over a significant portion of global maritime traffic. This would be a game changer, not just for East Asia, but for the entire world. For the United States, this isn't just a matter of trade, it's about maintaining a freedom of navigation and regional stability. If China could dominate the Taiwan Strait, it could potentially restrict the flow of goods between Asia and the rest of the world. But it's not just about the economy, it's about military strategy as well. The United States for decades has maintained military alliances with countries like Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines to balance against China's growing influence in the region. Taiwan serves as a counterbalance, a natural barrier between China's military power and the Pacific. For the US, Taiwan acts as a strategic pivot point. If China controls Taiwan, it would have the ability to project military power across the entire Pacific. This would directly challenge US dominance in the region. China could disrupt vital shipping lanes, pose a threat to military assets in Japan, South Korea, and disrupt America's ability to operate in the Western Pacific. Taiwan is essentially the front line of the US defense strategy in East Asia. The US is committed to ensuring that Taiwan's sovereignty remains intact, not just for the sake of Taiwan itself, but to maintain the balance of power in the Asia-Pacific region. If Taiwan were to fall, it would signal a fundamental shift in the region's security architecture, potentially paving the way for more Chinese aggression. For China, Taiwan is viewed through a very different lens. Taiwan represents a core issue of national sovereignty. After the Chinese Civil War ended in 1949, Taiwan became governed separately from mainland China, but Beijing has always considered it to be a breakaway province. To China, Taiwan is an internal matter, as part of its rightful territory that must be reunified with this mainland. China's government, both historically and currently, has framed the issue of Taiwan as one of national pride and legitimacy. The Communist Party's narrative is built on the idea of a unified China, and the separation of Taiwan is seen as a legacy of foreign imperialism, a wound that must be healed for China to fully reclaim its rightful place in the world. Now let's turn to the economic interest. Taiwan may be a relatively small island, but it is absolutely essential to the global tech supply chain. The island is home to TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which is the largest and most advanced semiconductor manufacturer in the world. These semiconductors are the lifeblood of the modern economy, and Taiwan controls a critical portion of the world's supply. These chips are found in almost every modern device, from smartphones, laptops, and gaming consoles to military systems, automobiles, and even medical equipment. But the key to Taiwan's semiconductor industry is the ability to produce the most advanced chips. While other countries like South Korea and the US also produce semiconductors, Taiwan is the leading producer of the most sophisticated cutting-edge chips used in AI, 5G technology, and advanced weapon systems. For the United States, Taiwan is not just an economic partner, it's a security concern. Taiwan's semiconductor industry is critical to US military technology. Modern American fighter jets, advanced missile defense systems, and even intelligence systems rely on chips produced in Taiwan. Without access to Taiwan's advanced semiconductor capabilities, the US would face a technological deficit that could undermine its military and economic strength. In fact, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, is so important that it has become a focal point of the US-China tech rivalry. Both nations are vying for dominance in the tech industry, and Taiwan semiconductors are one of the most valuable prizes in that competition. For China, controlling Taiwan would mean gaining access to the most advanced chip-making technology in the world. This would give China a huge advantage in building its own cutting-edge tech and military systems. Taiwan's semiconductor industry is critical not just to the global supply chain, but to China's ambitions to become a global leader in technology. China is rapidly expanding its own semiconductor capabilities, but it still depends on Taiwan for some of its most advanced technology. If Beijing could control Taiwan's chip production, it would not only strengthen China's position in the tech world, but also have a significant leverage over the global supply of semiconductors, an asset it could use to diplomatically coerce countries or disrupt rival economies. Let's now turn to the issue of national security and sovereignty, which forms the emotional core of this entire issue. Taiwan is a democratic society. It has its own government, military, and strong sense of national identity. Most of the people of Taiwan see themselves as Taiwanese, not Chinese. And over the years, Taiwan has built a thriving democracy with a free market economy. However, from China's perspective, Taiwan's existence as a separate political entity represents a direct challenge to its authority. The Chinese Communist Party sees Taiwan's independence as an existential threat to its legitimacy. The reunification of Taiwan with the mainland is a goal that has been central to China's foreign policy for decades. For China, losing Taiwan is not just a territory, it's about the national pride, political stability, and restoring China's rightful place in the world. Beijing has repeatedly stated that it will take military action if Taiwan moves toward declaring formal independence. China has invested heavily in its military capabilities, particularly its ability to project force across the Taiwan Strait. The potential for military confrontation is high, as China views Taiwan's independence as a red line that cannot be crossed. Beijing's position is clear. Taiwan's sovereignty is a non-negotiable. For the United States, Taiwan represents much more than a regional ally. It's a symbol of democratic values and the global order that America has helped to build since the end of World War II. The US has long maintained that Taiwan's future should be determined by the Taiwanese people, not by Beijing. The American commitment to Taiwan's security is enshrined in the Taiwan's Relations Act passed in 1979, which allows the US to supply Taiwan with defense weapons and has been the cornerstone of US's policy toward Taiwan. Although the US does not have a formal defense pact with Taiwan, it has consistently militarily supported Taiwan by providing advanced weapons and training to ensure it can defend itself against any potential Chinese aggression. This policy of strategic ambiguity has kept both sides, China and Taiwan, on edge. The United States does not explicitly state whether it would come to Taiwan's defense if China launched an invasion, but it has made it clear that such an attack would have significant consequences for regional stability and global security. Taiwan, for its part, continues to build a strong defense posture despite being vastly outnumbered by China's military. The island has invested heavily in asymmetric warfare capabilities designed to inflict damage on any invaders while making it costly as possible for China to launch an invasion. Taiwan has also sought to bolster its ties with the US and other democratic nations, who have repeatedly affirmed Taiwan's right to remain independent and have warned China against using force. Taiwan's democratic values are at stake here too. Many Taiwanese people identify with the liberal, democratic ideals of the West and see themselves as part of the broader international community of democracies. As Taiwan strengthens its position in the world stage, it faces increasing pressure from China to reunify with the mainland under terms that would erase its democracy and freedom. So why is Taiwan so important to the US and China? In simple terms, Taiwan is the epicenter of a global struggle over power, economic, and value. Taiwan's location as a key strategic military and economic hub makes it a vital piece in the global balance of power. Its advanced tech industries, particularly its semiconductor production, makes it an irreplaceable asset to both superpowers, but it's also about sovereignty and identity. For China, Taiwan is a historical issue of unity. For the US, it's about maintaining the democratic order and preventing the expansion of authoritarian influence. The outcome of this struggle will not just affect the future of Taiwan, but will set the tone for the international rules-based order. Taiwan's position in the world, whether it remains independent, reunites with China, or faces military conflict, will have profound implications for global security, international trade, and the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. As we watch Taiwan's ongoing struggle to protect its sovereignty and economic independence, we must also recognize the broader implications for the world. With Taiwan at the center of this geopolitical tug-of-war, the question remains, will Taiwan remain free, or will the forces of geopolitics and military power decide its fate. How the US and China navigate this issue will shape the future of East Asia and possibly the world for generations to come. So what do you think? Will Taiwan remain independent, or will geopolitical and economic forces lead to its eventual reunification with China? What role should the US play in this conflict? We want to hear your thoughts, so leave your comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into global issues. Thanks for watching.